Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Time for the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Been a while since I've been here, anyway. Almost a month, I think.
It feels like
the way that it's worked. I mean, pretty close.
It's a novelty to have both of us together.
Yeah, and after a couple weeks of trying to do it, we were going to do it here together when you were here, and that didn't work out. So last week you took it and took care of everything. So we really just have a couple of series to talk about. We do have a monster development that happened, surprise, that we'll need to talk about in around baseball. I think that the series, the Angels and the Dodgers, had two things. They came out of their weekend series to go into 4-game series. And then the weekend series we're going to talk about, they were both playing teams with the same color scheme.
Okay.
The Orioles and the Giants.
Yeah, I had not thought about that.
I don't know why that mattered, but it's there. So remember, you can find us on social media at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A on Twitter.
And on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Website siblingrivalrybb.com. You can go get some cool College World Series gear. We're going to talk about that coming up, as well as I just saw, I think they call it midnight gear. I don't know if the players are going to be wearing this, but they're like black and white jerseys, and they actually look kind of cool. You can get it for just about any team, I think. And then some of them have like the favorite players, top players from the team. Some of them are without, but those are pretty cool. So go check those out at siblingrivalrybb.com and click on the Fanatics link. So the Angels are, I don't even know what to do. When you look at their stats, when they say a team looks good on paper, the Angels don't. But in person, they're actually not that bad as far as what their expectations are and how they're playing. They're not, they went through that time frame where they had a long losing streak, and then they had a good winning streak. And the best thing that can happen for them in most is to be on the road, because Taylor Ward hits when he's on the road. He doesn't hit when he's at home. So there's a lot of different options. Mike Trout, I don't know. Everybody's like, when's he going to be coming back to play right field? Why? He's not doing a great job as the DH, better than he was, but it's still, he's a good presence, but he's not, Zach Neto, and even better than Zach Zetto lately has been Nolan Chanuel. You mentioned Jordan Scott Adele last week, and he's been overall doing a lot better than he had been, playing better outfield. So it's like, what are we going to do? Will the Angels be sellers when the time comes for we're about 50 days from 45 days, something like that, from the trade deadline? What's going to happen? So it's like the bad idea for them to think that they need to be buyers unless they can get a really good deal. And I think they need to either stand pat or see if they can pick up a couple people. But if you can get a haul for a couple of your guys, let them go.
Well, I have heard Tyler Anderson's name a lot as being a potential trade candidate, and one of the top trade candidates.
Yeah, him. I wouldn't be surprised if people aren't interested in Kyle Hendricks as well.
Oh, Kenley Jansen also
Kenley.
coming up.
And a lot of talk about maybe Reed Detmers, who has seemed to find his stride in the bullpen. But a lot of people are saying, no, if anybody traded for him, they try to make him a starter again. And maybe that's a bad move. Maybe it's a good move by change of scenery and he can pick that up. But he seems to be doing well where he's at. Why would you fix what's not broken?
Yeah. And then as far as position players, Taylor Ward, I think his name comes up always. Like, I think I always hear his name when it comes closer to trade deadline in past seasons, and it's no different this season.
And I would think that since you're getting him towards the end of the year or the middle end of the year, and he hits so well on the road that maybe it's worth having him because he's not having to hit in Angel Stadium where he doesn't seem to be able to hit.
Yeah.
So anyway, lots to talk about or not talk about, but a lot to watch. Will they, won't they, what's going to happen? There's options, but they're pitching, they lead the league in strikeouts and they're at the bottom of the league in walks. So they strike out a lot and they don't walk. If not for a few of the young guys, they wouldn't hit either. And they still have some defensive issues. It's getting better, but while some of these guys are getting better, Logan O'Hoppy's getting worse.
Yeah, I've seen too. I wish I had sources, but I don't. But I'm going to say my sources have told me maybe a trip to AAA is in his future.
That might be the way to go. You have, Darno, who can definitely pick up and carry that along. So anyway, the Angels spent a weekend in Baltimore, a team that has a worse record than they. But I think, and at one point, Baltimore was behind the White Sox as far as the American League goes.
Yeah.
And but the Orioles have overall better players. They've had pitching issues, offensive issues, like a lot of teams. They've had injury issues. So it's been hard, but they're a team that I think a lot of people say if they could get one or two things kind of figured out, they could put themselves back into contention. I don't know if that's true or not. But they're not a team that says, well, the Angels have a better record, thus they're the better team. Only in records. They head into Baltimore for the weekend series. Jack Kahanowitz facing off with Charlie Morton. And, it didn't really matter. Angels had little offense. They did get 8 hits, but they couldn't score any runs. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and it was Luis Rengifo with 2 hits as well as Joe Adele, but even Zach Neto, who was 0 for 3, just didn't. They couldn't do anything, and they lose it 2-0. Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano both with home runs off of Kahanowitz.
But I will say in this game, they lose the game 2-0, but the Angels bullpen, their relievers were able to keep the Orioles scoreless for the rest of the game after Kahanowitz came out. So that's a positive.
That is a positive. The bullpen has been pitching pretty well. Mm-hmm. And I want to mention something before I forget it. We finally got, what's his name, Stevenson back, Robert Stevenson. He got signed at the beginning of last year, missed all of last year, had missed most of this year, went out and pitched 1 good inning. And the next one he went out, the next time he pitched, I saw he was on there, but he had no outs, no batters faced, anything. What happened with him was during warm-ups, he had an issue with his bicep, and he's back on the IL.
Oh.
And no telling. They say late June. It's probably going to be after the All-Star break if he comes back. And who knows? Maybe he's Rendonish and won't be back at all this year. I don't know. He didn't play at all last year and have pitched one inning so far this year. But yeah, Hunter Strickland, who came back. He was with them last year. They signed him again this year during the season, and he's pitched pretty well for them. Good deal by Connor Brogdon, Brock Burke. Both of those are guys who've had issues, but both seem now. Brock Burke did walk 3 people, in that game. But you're right, they did. They did pretty well, even though they lost. So it's like, and it wasn't a bad, overall, not a bad game. I mean, yes, Konowitz gave up all the runs, but which was just 2, and both of those off of home runs. So, it could have been worse. The pitching, the Angels pitching has actually been pretty decent overall. Both. It's the offense that seems to sputter. That's not the case so much on the Saturday game. The Angels open up the game with 2 runs right there in the top of the first. And, that's a good start for them. Mike Trout with a home run, bringing in Zach Neto, who had walked a little earlier. And then they would go on to score 5 total runs in the game, so not bad. You had the home run by Trout. Luis Rengifo hit a home run. And then Taylor Ward with a double in the game. Actually, Luis Rengifo had 2 home runs in that game. And went 2 for 4. So he had a pretty good game as well. But they couldn't hold off. Tyler Anderson, was pitching. He started for the Halos. He goes 5 total innings, gives up all 6 runs. After we were just talking about how good he's been and why people would be looking for him. We did see the return of Sam Bachman, who's been out mostly ever since he got drafted. But he was able to come in and pitch an inning. Just faced 3 batters on 9 pitches and was able to get out of that with a two ground balls and a fly ball.
Well, this is another game where the bullpen came in and Tyler Anderson gave up all the runs, the 6 runs that Orioles got, but then Strickland, Bachman, and Nears kept the Orioles scoreless after the 6th inning. So another good outing from the bullpen, which in the past seasons has been an issue for the Angels.
Only gave up 2 hits between them over the 3 innings that the bullpen pitchers threw. So once again, I know that Sam Bachman was happy to be back. There was a story in MLB about Happy Father's Day gift to his dad was him coming back and finally pitching in the major leagues again. We'll see how that goes because he's been mostly hurt. So they lose the series there, but they have a chance to wrap things up on the Sunday game before they head north for their next series. And Yusei Kikuchi on the mound, who's been, normally when Yusei's there, they've, overall a pretty good outing from him, whether he loses or wins or loses. A lot of times he's lost because he just doesn't get any support. He does go 5 2/3, but he gives up 5 runs, 7 hits, strikes out 10. But this one, the bullpen just didn't. Connor Brogdon. So Yusei gives up 5. Brogdon gives up 4. Kenley Jansen gives up 2. And one of our favorite pitchers, name-wise, Scott Blewett, which he did have a play where he made a bad play. I was listening on the radio, and he did blow it. Scott blew it on that one. Anyway, yeah, 2 runs is all that they could get off of the Orioles battery. Nolan Ryan Shanuel was responsible for a home run in the first inning. That's probably where he blew it. And then the other run was scored by Zach Neto later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, Kikuchi gave up a 2-run home run, Brogdon gave up a grand slam, and then Kinley gave up a 2-run home run. So, yeah, not going to help your team when all 3 pitchers give up.
Right.
Yeah,
Ramon Urias, Gary Sanchez, and Jordan Westberg all with those home runs.
Yeah.
So, there's still the Orioles still have issues, and no telling what they're going to do come trade deadline. But that's it. The Angels and Orioles are done for the season. So, both of them are kind of in the same place. They've really got to pick things up. The Orioles need pitching. The Angels need more bats. And better defense. But that was a wrap for them. They get swept. And what's interesting is the team that they're going to play, that they are playing in the 4-game set this week, also got swept. The Yankees. They went up to the Bronx to take on the Bombers. So they get to meet up with not only Aaron Judge, but Giancarlo Stanton's back. And they'll take them on for a 4-game series to finish up this year's series with them. Any players of the week for the Angels for you?
I went through and I think I don't know if he's my de facto player of the week because I feel like I've picked him a lot over our seasons that we've been doing this. But I went with Luis Rengifo, and mainly because he was consistent. He had a hit in each, he had at least 1 hit in all 3 games. So
okay, he's definitely a guy that if he puts it together and keeps playing well, he's probably another player that is probably on the trade list.
Yeah. Well, and he's a name that you hear, but he just, we'll see.
We'll have to see what people need, and when it comes down to it, I think this is the time for speculation. This is the time for clickbait. People talking about, what's going to happen here, who's going to go where, and we're going to talk about a couple trades coming. Well, one specific trade when we get to around baseball. But yeah, I'm going to go with Nolan Ryan Shanuel, who has been consistent and getting better. He's got the best batting average of those playing consistently. He's been hitting most of the time. He doesn't hit for power, but if he can continue to hit the ball and stay in that 280 range, that's going to be pretty good. And he's getting better at first base as well. So more and more confidence in him.
Yeah, definitely. As mentioned, Christian Moore has been called up from Salt Lake City. He made his debut in Baltimore, but we will definitely be talking about him in this series that the Angels are currently in. Will be next week. But and Matthew Lugo, who was making some noise, he was optioned back to Salt Lake City
because he stopped making.
The noise. He went silent.
I didn't catch when I listened through last week's episode. I didn't catch if you mentioned this or not, but when the Yankees were in Anaheim, the final game they beat the Angels 1-0, which was the first time they had beat the Angels 1-0 since 1970. and that's in Anaheim. If you go to any of the Yankee stadiums, it goes back even farther into the '60s. That a 1-0 game between the Angels and the Yanks. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and if you did mention that, I apologize.
I did not mention that, so
Anyway,
good on you.
so they got the so like I said, the Yankees and the Yankees and the Angels are finishing up today, and then the Angels will be playing.
The asterisks.
Oh, that's right. They come home to take on the Asterix. All right, and I have an interesting thing about the Asterix and my favorite asterisk of all time, sarcastically, when we get to around baseball.
Okay.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Right, the Dodgers have been going through a tough stretch as far as their scheduling goes. You know, they played the Yankees, they played the Mets, they played the Cardinals, who have been a better team, and the Padres. They played all of those back to back to back, and then San Francisco, which is a true rivalry game, and they're a good team. Right there, all battling for the top. San Diego has been in third for a little bit now because they've gone through something. But San Francisco right there, and then the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, as you mentioned, Jana, last week, took out the Padres, and they win the series, which honestly, I don't know how you felt, but I kind of felt like it wasn't as intense. I expected more from the Padres than what there was.
Yeah, I think the crowd at Petco Park for that series, I mean, full they had sellout crowds there. I mean, they go all the way up, if you could say in a ballpark, the rafters. They were all up there. People across, from the apartment buildings kind of thing. I don't know how good they can see the game. But from the crowd aspect, yes. On the field, I always expect a little bit more from the Padres and their players. And Mike Schilt has taken on that role also of, you can't bully us and you're not going to do that. But they are playing the Dodgers in a 4-game series. They're playing their last game today, and some things are different in this series. So at least in one of the games. So yeah, I didn't see the fire, but I do think that, and I mentioned this last week, the Giants always will be the rivalry. But that intensity between, and maybe even I don't want to see hatred because there are a lot of people who hate the Giants, but I would venture to say that there are more players on the Padres that you could dislike than on think Giants, if you were to look at it that aspect.
I think that's going to change.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I
wonder where, because you're right, early games in this current series, there's not been the fire. The only person, if you're waiting for just Manny Machado to do that, his shtick is old. Yeah. And there's not as many, there's no Jurickson Profar, who was always a polarizing figure out there. Mm-hmm. Tatis doesn't seem to be as cocky, not portraying it out as much for what little I've seen.
Well, and I think, too, when you get suspended, 80-game suspension for PEDs. A ringworm. It knocks you down a peg or two. And so I think, maybe that has played into his, how he plays the game, and also, his bat speed, and even, he moved out to the outfield. He's still a good player, but he's definitely has dropped that competitiveness to a different level.
So yeah, with that, right now, if the series goes well, if they can do that out of the 7 games, because they just barely played them for this season for that.
Right.
Just this, when this one's done, there'll be 7 total games. If the Dodgers have, because they'll play 13 total, the Dodgers take control of that. If there is any tiebreakers, they'll have the tiebreaker. So let's talk about what happened in the series with San Francisco. They started that out on a Friday night there at the Ravine. And what happened?
The Dodgers lose this game 6-2. And there was only, Teoscar Hernandez was 2 for 3 in this game. He had the 2 hits for the Dodgers. The Dodgers offense had 2 hits. Teoscar Hernandez had both of them. One of them was a home run. They had Logan Webb on the mound. And, really, Logan Webb has always been really good against the Dodgers. 7 innings pitched, gave up the 2 hits, gave up, 2 runs. Not great. I mean, he did had 3 walks and 4 strikeouts, but Casey Schmidt had a grand slam that pretty much sealed the deal. I mean, San Francisco hit 3 home runs. Yamamoto is on the mound for this one. And he has pitched 14 times. Let's just look at Yamamoto real quick, because one, when he's pitching, there's no offense. I don't know why. Oral Hershiser says he needs to take everybody out to dinner. He needs to take the whole team out to dinner, give them some gifts, do something. Say, hey, you got to help me out here. But he only pitched 4 2/3 innings in this game. He gave up 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. Now, on 5 days rest, he has a 4.46 ERA. On 6 days rest, he has a 0.90 ERA. Early on in the season, Cy Young was being batted around. Probably a little too early in the season for that. But still, if he had been continued, and, we still have a lot of baseball to play. He has a 2.64 ERA over his 14 starts. Now, this is what's interesting. His first 7 outings came on 6 or more days of rest. The last 7 outings have come on 5 days of rest, and that's been a big thing. What is it that one more day is helping him? He says he doesn't feel that it's an issue. I think it's a lack of run support that doesn't help him out. But, obviously in this game, he just didn't pitch well. And I don't know, too, if it's just, he just is off. But he's not, like in St. Louis, he had a great game, but no run support. And it's just inconsistent. His performance is just inconsistent.
So he hadn't been. And here's the problem for the Dodgers. Bad outings are going to happen no matter how great you are. And he's pitched pretty well. The problem is that there's nobody else that's been even close to consistent. So it hurts more when the only guy you really have, he's the only real member that was supposed to of the rotation that's been there since the beginning of the season. Kershaw's come back and had a couple of good outings. We'll talk about him, I'm sure. And he's got a thing with the Giants. But they just don't have. You never know who's coming up to pitch next. And we can say it now because we're not going to talk about it until next week. But even Shohei's already back on the mound, and we can talk a little bit about why that is. But if Yoshi, who's your top pitcher, has a bad game, there's not anything to guarantee that the next guy up is going to make up for it.
Exactly.
In the rotation, not necessarily out of the bullpen, which can have its moments as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dodgers lose the first game 6-2. The next night, the Dodgers come out and they win the game 11-5, but they really should have won the game 11-1 which is what I think that's what the score was.
Could have been 11-0.
Well, right. But Kershaw's on the mound, and it's Kershaw Day, or as we now say, Kershaw Appreciation Day. And he pitches 7 innings, gives up 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, no home runs. Michael Kopech, who's come back off the IL, has looked good, pitched an inning, no hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, no walks. And then I get that why they do this, because the next night Dustin May is scheduled to pitch, and Dustin May has not been, how do I say, he just hasn't gone, he's not a guaranteed going to go 6 innings.
So they wanted to preserve the bullpen, right?
Yeah.
By not only because they've got a route, but also, as you just said, to be ready for anything.
Yes.
Potentially.
Right. So they bring in Kike Hernandez, and he has pitched a couple of times. Both times the Dodgers have been behind. They have been on the losing end. And so when it's that situation, you're like, okay, haha, whatever. That happened in San Diego. And a lot of people are like, no, position players should pitch. But it's like, again, at that point, the Dodgers were losing, I think, kind of by the same score. And
honestly, a lot of people were upset about that one because it's like, why are you giving up? It's like it was a strategic move.
Yeah.
Not to blow out the bullpen, and it worked out because they won the series.
Right. And I think I understood it. I just felt like the Dodgers are in a position where they have to be very strategic with their pitching, and especially the bullpen, because you just never know. Kershaw goes 7 innings. Excellent. I mean, had a great outing. And then Kike Hernandez comes in, and you think, okay, he has been okay, decent as a position player pitching. Mm-hmm. But in this case, 2/3 innings, gives up 3 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks. One of those was a home run. Anthony Banda had to come in and get the
and he threw as many pitches as he needed 1 out, but he threw as many pitches as Kike did.
Yeah.
To get in trouble.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it hadn't been for Kike putting a couple people on, and he couldn't throw any strikes, and then when he did finally throw one, it was grand slam. That was the problem. It could have been, on one side you're like, okay, I get it, but at some point, it's like, okay, this is getting out of hand. You need to bring in a real pitcher.
Right, and that was when watching this game. I mean, the Dodgers had been up like 11, I'd say 11-1, and
Well, it was
then,
11-0 at one point.
Well, 11-0, right? But they are tied going into this series with the Giants. They're tied for first place. So to me, even if you're up 11-0, 11-1. You're not. Why bring in a position player? I get you're trying to preserve the bullpen, and you think, well, he hasn't been bad. He's been able to, he had, like what, a 2.9 ERA or something like that. Now it's a 9 ERA. I see that, but they could have been at risk of losing the game because. You could come. I mean, you and I have both seen teams come back from deficits like that. Mm-hmm. So it worked out in the Dodgers' favor, but in this case, I did not agree with bringing Kike in.
When you said that, it just like all of a sudden, movie quote in my head is, remember in Top Gun when they're going over, like they're doing the, like watching the game tapes of the different, of whatever their daily flight was. And they're talking about what Maverick did. And then Kelly McGillis's character says something along the way. Yeah, I did this, but why would you do that? And even though it was a win, we should look at this as a loss and a learning experience. And that just popped in my head. I didn't get the line exactly right, but she kind of looks at it. Yeah, it paid off, but we should look at this as a bad move. And, maybe that's where they should look at it and say, when we're that close, let's not, you blew the shutout. Mm-hmm. Even though Kershaw still didn't give up any runs, so it's good. But it could have been 11-0, 11-1, and instead, it's 11-5. And there was a little worry there, even when Banda came in, that it was going to get worse.
Yeah, because he's looked better, but he has struggled this season. In this game, Shohei 2 for 3, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Teoscar 1 for 3 with a home run. Miggy Rojas had a home run
off of a position player, which shouldn't matter. But the Giants also threw a position player.
They did, but they were in that situation where they were down 11. So
right.
I don't know. Again, should they have thrown a position player? Because of the standings, if you're looking at the standings,
I think that it was okay
point?
To a point.
Yeah.
I think that they let Kike go too long.
I think so too. Yes, definitely.
And I think Doc thought that he would get him. He got 2 outs. He thought that he would get him. Oh, well, we gave up a run. No big deal. A win's a win, whether you win by 1 or 20. But that was the problem. So
yeah, exactly. Michael Conforto, 1 for 4, had a double and an RBI. So I mentioned that because he's struggling, but he's had some flashes, and I think we know how he can play. I don't know what needs to happen with him to get him, back hitting and doing what he needs to do. In the final game, Dodgers win this game 5-4, and Dustin May on the mound. And I think one of the reasons why they look to Kike because Dustin May is on the mound, but he actually goes 6 innings in this game, gives up 6 hits, 3 runs, walked 4, and only struck out 3, but didn't give up any home runs. It was Kirby Yates gave up a home run, but otherwise May, Vesia Yates, and then Tanner Scott, who he said that they were watching him pitch. Pryor said, I think this is what Mark Pryor's like, this is what you're doing. There's something, it was like an early release or he was doing something and he says he's figured it out. It looks like he's figured it out. 3 strikeouts in his 1 inning pitched. Shohei 3 for 3. Tommy Edman had a home run in this game. Andy Pages. I have been voting for Andy Pages every day in the MLB voting, all-star voting, because he deserves to be in Atlanta. This guy, I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. He might be the nicest guy, but man, he's got the baseball face and he is laser focused. He goes 1 for 3, home run, 4 RBIs in this game. And his name is going to come up next week when we talk about the Padres series, because that's the banter and things that were said back and forth. That's what we expect of the Padres.
Yeah, a little more of that, and so it'll be an interesting series to talk about next week. So they're playing them now, and then who do the Dodgers have?
The Nationals come in for the weekend series for 3 games, and the Nationals, I mean, when the Dodgers were playing the Nationals in D.C., they didn't fare that well, so we'll see.
Right. So, as you probably already know, since we're doing this, later in the week, Shohei Ohtani was moved up. Instead of doing a bullpen game or a simulated game, after a lot of conversation, they said, what's the difference between me doing pitching an inning versus doing, in fact, it's better for me to pitch an inning or 2 in a real game than it is to heat up and cool down and then heat up and cool down again from batting. Yeah. So the Dodgers went ahead and said, okay, let's do it. So he started game 1 of the Padres series on Monday. We'll talk more about exactly what happened and how all that went. But I think a lot of people were concerned about that. And I honestly, after the explanation about, hey, I'm not going to go down. He's not going to go do a rehab start in Rancho Cucamonga or Tulsa or Oklahoma City. He's going to have to do it this way. Why not do it? But bringing up the Nationals, my thought was, instead of putting him in a game that very well could down the road have playoff implications, why not push him to start against the Nationals?
Yeah.
It's not as challenging of a lineup. Different options. That was just one thing that I had thought about. That's why I brought that up. So.
Yeah. Well, I want to real quick, because the Dodgers have 14 players maybe 13 players now on the IL. Emmett Sheehan has been activated, and he will be starting in this Padres series. I'm not sure which game, but he'll be starting. But we did get some news that's concerning, and that's Roki Sasaki. Looks like he had a shoulder, or has a shoulder impingement. It looks like he may be out for the season. According to Dave Roberts, they said they're going to have to figure out, just figure out what to do. I didn't say what to do, but pretty much come to the conclusion that they're just going to be without him for the season. So, not a lot has been said as far as I've seen. I don't know, Sports Talk in LA, what they've been saying.
Well, nobody's really been saying. What the one thing is they're wondering if maybe they're over or under promising so they can over deliver, because with Shohei, he's not going to start till after the All-Star break. Then it became a few days before, north of zero, just barely north of zero, that he's going to start before then.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there he is. And, ticket prices went up by 172% once it was announced that he was going to
I think that's the
pitch.
most people I'd ever seen at Dodger Stadium in the first inning.
Right? Everybody was there because, and maybe that's what they need to do. Because he, you knew if you got there like your normal time, you stroll in around the fifth, he's already going to be gone. Even if you got there at the second, there was a good potential. The potential was he was going to be gone, and of course he was.
Yeah.
I think the next time he pitches, you might see him go a little bit more, up 2, possibly 3 innings. Just depends.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about how his outing went. And the thoughts on that. Next week, we know that they've got they're going to finish up here, and then they've got Washington. Player of the week.
My player of the week is Clayton Kershaw. He was vintage Kershaw. I love watching him throw that curveball. I mean, he still befuddles hitters with that after this is his 18th season with the Dodgers. And I just, he's one of my favorites, and he was excellent in this outing. And also, congratulations to the Kershaw family, because they will be having another, his wife will be having another baby, and they found out on Father's Day it's going to be a girl. So number 5, so player of the week, excellent outing for Kershaw. And then also gets to be add a little one to the Kershaw clan. I wonder what C name they're going to come up with for
Charlene.
Or Charlotte or something. I don't know. Going back to the pitchers, I know for my just to deviate a little bit from player of the week, Blake Snell has thrown a bullpen session. He's looking good. It looks like to start a rehab assignment. He may be back before the All-Star break. And Tyler Glasnow threw a simulated game through 2 innings. He looked good. Haven't been told exactly when he may be back. I would think probably after the All-Star game or break as well. But probably Snell will be back before. I would say Snell will be back, and then hopefully Glasnow will follow. And Blake Trinan also has been throwing, and big bullpen piece for the Dodgers, and he most likely will be back after the All-Star game. So some good news on the pitching front.
There is a little conversation about Tyler Glasnow. That why does he keep having these issues? Why can't anybody ever figure it? And his name was put into the same sentence with Anthony Rendon that maybe he has. Not necessarily at the same level that Anthony Rendon obviously just seems to have disdain towards the game in general.
Yes.
But there's something going on in that he just really doesn't want to play. And that's been rotating around out here a little bit.
Well, it seems like when you have, it goes from, a shoulder or an elbow to just general body soreness.
And always leg cramps and
leg cramps, a lot of leg cramps. So it's like you should see a doctor about that. But I think, all of us could say we wake up, not all mornings, but a lot of mornings we wake up with general body soreness, and obviously we're not pitching. But
if I'm getting paid what he's getting paid, and that's my job, then yes. If I could say, you know what, I'm injured, my vocal cords are injured, and I can't talk.
Yes,
I can't talk for today. I'm on the my job injured list, whatever that would be.
Yeah.
And I could get away with it. I probably would try for a little bit, but you're getting paid to do that. then do it. Or
Right.
say, I can't do it anymore and retire.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because that'll come up in around baseball with when we were talking about this blockbuster that came up. But yeah, I don't know about. I like Tyler Glass now, and he's a good pitcher when he pitches, but he's got to pitch, and it's not fair that he's getting all this money, and he at least he's on the mound. But we'll see. Is he gonna say, "Oh no, something else happened," or is it gonna follow through? Because I think at some point something has to be done with him.
Right.
Sports psychologist, whatever it is. Dodgers have a lot at
I
their
would rather he had the
disposal.
yips.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That we can explain. But
exactly.
I do think that Blake Snell will be back before, and I do think Blake Snell actually does want to pitch.
I think so too. And like I said, the Dodgers have a lot at their disposal. Just heard today that Mark Walter is now like I don't know what they call it. Is he like the primary,
Right.
the
He's
owner?
buying the Lakers.
Yeah, buying the Lakers.
From the Bus family.
Yes.
So that'll be more than 50%. I don't know what the whole deal is yet because they were just talking about it and I haven't heard everything today.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's he will be the primary the owner of the Lakers.
Yeah. Do you have a player of the week? Did I?
Kershaw was my pick as well. Just
Okay.
a great outing, after being gone so much and so many people thinking that this is just kind of, it's like a celebratory season. He's just taking his last, run through the league to finish the season and that he's probably going to retire. With 5 kids, he probably needs to retire just so he can take up with all of that. But I don't know what the deal is with that. But a lot of talking. Do you think that clearly he's not an all-star from the sense of the season that he's had, or is having, even in the time frame, even if it comes around to be that? But as a honorary or as a member of should he be named to the all-star team because this could be his last season?
Well, I'm trying to think of pitchers just across, National League, and yeah, I think he should be, and just even if it's just he doesn't pitch an inning or anything, just for him to be honorary all-star, just because he's Clayton Kershaw. I mean, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Right. I mean, he doesn't have to start, but you bring him in. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Some people think that that's not going to happen. Obviously, the guy that you can expect to start the All-Star game plays for one of the losingest teams, but is the best pitcher, and that's that would be what's his name, Paul Scanes.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know that all is good with the bullpen cart because it was locked up.
Had
Not
no
movable.
access.
Nothing at all last week. So let's hop in it, get it out there. We got it all shined up and ready for this week. And as always, we're going to take a look at the players of the week. Which league are we going to first?
National League, and we're heading to Atlanta, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is the MLB Player of the Week, hitting .619 with a 1.788 OPS, 3 home runs, and 6 RBIs. And in the American League, the Rangers' Josh Smith picks up MLB Player of the Week award, batting .423 with a 1.269 OPS, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs.
Nice. Well, big news happened, and usually when we get to trades or not only trades, but just about everything is already known by the time. My sources say, like during the winter meetings, my sources say so-and-so is going to sign with. I don't think that there was really a true surprise when Shohei signed with the Dodgers or Yoshi or even Sasaki, because it just, everybody had been talking about it. It seemed to just be out there, and it would have been a surprise if they didn't, because everybody's, you got to have your social media games got to be up and running, and you've got you got to put stuff out there so people will follow you. This one was a complete surprise that shook everybody. Now, was it a surprise that it was going to happen? I don't think that the actual trade in the big picture was a surprise, because you could kind of see something was happening, but I don't think anybody expected it when it happened.
In fact, because you mentioned clickbait early on, and there's a lot of parody accounts out there, I was like, what? This isn't real. But it was, and it is, it's real.
I was like, the first thing I saw, that's what I thought, but then I realized, and I went just to double check, it was on MLB website.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, sources from, or, like you said, any of the parody accounts or accounts that sometimes kind of joke around. It was MLB, and so I went directly to MLB, and there it was.
There it was, yeah. The San Francisco Giants get Rafael Devers from the Red Sox in a trade. The Giants get Devers. The Boston gets pitchers Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, a minor league outfielder by the names of James Tibbs III, and a right-handed pitcher, Jose Bello. And the Giants will absorb the remainder of Devers' contract in its entirety. So he had a $313.5 million contract over 10 years. He's on year 2 of that contract. So they're going to take all of it. And I guess now that you're like, the shock of he got traded, but then you start thinking about early on, they want me to be DH. And I had to learn how. Right. I'm the third baseman.
I'm the third baseman forever.
Forever.
They promised me.
Exactly. And they got Alex Bregman. They moved him to third. Again, Alex Bregman was willing to play second, but Boston's like, nope, we want you to play third. They moved Devers to be the designated hitter. Devers had to learn how to be the designated hitter. And there is
in
something.
his way, I could say that, because you're used to going out and you're part of the whole game.
Yes.
And now you're just, your participation is every 2 to 3 innings.
Right. Yeah. And I get that. But then they said, okay, we're going to move you to first because Tristan Casas had a season-ending injury and we need you at first. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I think that the Red Sox, and this is from sources, that they felt that his contract came with responsibilities to do what's right for the team, and that he didn't live up to those responsibilities.
Right.
And he wasn't one of the players, I'm trying to think who it was, piped up and said, hey, I'll play first. And Devers took that as a personal, affront to him. And he just wasn't in the clubhouse. He just wasn't. He wasn't the veteran player. They got a lot of young guys, and he just wasn't living up to his end of the bargain. So he got traded.
You knew it was coming after the first base thing.
Yeah.
Would it be at the trade deadline, which would have been last minute,
Right.
or would it be in the off season? A lot of the experts all thought off season.
Well, yeah.
When they could really put together something more. Mm-hmm. But no.
Well, and there's a lot of talk with Boston fans upset because Mookie Betts gone, Xander Bogaerts gone, and now Devers.
Devers was the last part of that
Last.
2018 World Series team. The other thing is that not only that, but who was the first pitcher you mentioned in the trade from the Giants?
Jordan Hicks.
He was set to pitch versus the Dodgers, and they pulled him.
Yes.
Goes to Boston. They sent him to AAA.
Yeah.
So they didn't even get somebody that they could put in right away, or a couple of players right away. The minor leaguers, the top minor leaguers are supposed to be maybe next season Major League ready. We'll see. But now they have 250 some odd million to go after some other players to fill in some gaps coming up. And the thing that made it worse was they just swept the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
And Devers hit a home run in that to help, fuel that. And then he's gone.
And then he's gone. Yeah. Well, David Ortiz, we all know him as a Big Papi. He's a special assistant to the Fenway Sports Group. He played for the Red Sox for 14 years. And he said it wasn't all roses when he played for the Red Sox, but he said the organization is always going to be there. Players come and go. And as a player, sometimes you've got to put your ego aside and understand that once you got paid, you've got to find a way to do what you're told. And he said he had tried to talk to Devers, try to mentor him, and he didn't want any part of that. And again, baseball is a business, and players are employees.
So he just thought, you paid me a lot of money to be here a long time. I'm the face of the franchise. We won a World Series while I've been here. And then now you're going to do this. My question is why wasn't there a no trade clause in his big old contract?
Yeah, that was a mistake on the part of his agent.
And him
yeah,
too.
And him too. Yeah, because he's gone now. He was introduced by the Giants this week at a press conference. He says he's looking forward and will play wherever San Francisco wants him to play. Looks like
the
he
shot
will.
Across the bow.
He will play. I think they're looking at him to play first base. He was taking grounders on the field before his debut, and that's something he never did in Boston. The season he was never out there on the field, and but he told Buster Posey, "I'm ready. You put me in wherever you need me. I will be there." And then in his debut, he went 2 for 5. And got an ovation from the fans.
So we'll see. We'll see how he is when the Dodgers and the Giants play again. We'll probably be talking about him. He's a good pickup for him.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with some big names. It's going to come back to bite them that they took on the whole contract, because they have a lot of money not only now invested in him, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember there's somebody else, where they're all north of almost at 200 each. Willie Adames was about 180, 155, I think, for Chapman. So,
yeah. If anybody has a Devers jersey that they bought, you can return it, right? Because you went and bought. The Yankees sweep the Red Sox sweep the Yankees and you're like, yeah, I get a Devers jersey. Their MLBshop.com does have a jersey assurance policy. So if you buy a jersey and a player is traded within 90 days of buying it, you can make a claim within 14 days of the trade. And this doesn't apply if the player's cut, retired, suspended, or incarcerated. It doesn't apply. But you can either choose the jersey of a different player on the team, so on the Red Sox, or you can get a new Devers jersey in Giants colors. Yeah. So I just thought that was
you're just a fan of a player, not necessarily a team. There was a thing during that series. Lady is a Red Sox fan, but her favorite player is Aaron Judge. And when Aaron Judge comes on, she puts on a robe, like a judge's robe, and she roots for Aaron. And then as soon as he's gone, she takes the robe off and back to rooting for the Red Sox. So,
yeah.
All right. So really, with Around Baseball, there's a lot going on. We've got All-Star voting we can talk about. Right now, you know what? In a very low-key way, I'm not going to even play the sounder that goes with it. Let's take a look at the Wheel of IL.
All right. We're going to get right to it. In Minnesota, third baseman Royce Lewis has a strained hamstring. Rangers starting pitcher Tyler O'Malley has shoulder soreness. The Blue Jays starting pitcher Francis has shoulder. Sorry, I know. Bowden Francis shoulder impingement. So he's on the 15 day.
We even did a whole thing about Bowden Francis.
Yeah, we did. Cincinnati's reliever Graham Ashcroft has a strained groin. Colorado's Kyle Freeland, who I think finally has one win for the season, lower back tightness. So hopefully Bryant hasn't rubbed off on him. In Houston, this is probably a good thing. Starting pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. is on the IL with a sprained foot. Nationals.
I don't know. Is that a good idea? Because when he was with the team, they could protect him. Now that he's not really got anything to do while he's recovering,
I guess if you look at it that way,
you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he's not. I guess what I mean is not pitching, so they can't. He's not going to have any outcome. His performance isn't going to have any outcome.
Well, that's true. Game. Yeah, he's not pitching, so nobody can say. Yeah, I got you.
Relief pitcher Andrew Chafin of the Nationals has a strained hamstring on the 15. This one is a big one. Well, let me do this one, and then we'll go to the big one. San Diego's Jackson Merrill is on the 7-day concussion protocol IL and has been out of the lineup. And then this one's the big one. The Mets starting pitchers Kota Senga and Tyler McGill, both on the IL. Sprained hamstring and a sprained elbow for McGill.
Ooh.
Senga has the hamstring. McGill has the elbow.
We know that could take a while.
And so that's not good news for the Mets.
Nope. All right. Why don't we talk about College World Series?
Oh, man. The College World Series. If you have not been watching the College World Series, you are losing out on fantastic baseball.
Especially something that happened, unfortunately, to a team we were both rooting for. But the first time since 1950, I think it was, and only the third time in history of the College World Series.
Yeah.
The Murray State Racers were on the wrong end of that.
They definitely were. But let's look at Bracket 1. Bracket 1 had Coastal Carolina and Arizona, Oregon State, and Louisville. And Coastal Carolina, like I said, they came into the World Series with being undefeated. And they have continued They beat Arizona. They beat the Wildcats 7-4, and then they beat Oregon State 6-2 to advance. And then Coastal Carolina, that's to the next part of the bracket. Coastal Carolina routed Louisville 11-3, and they are heading back to the championship game. And the last time they were there, they won in 2016. So, Coastal Carolina on a tear.
Yeah, for sure.
And Louisville, they had staved off elimination by beating Arizona and Oregon State to get out of that elimination bracket, only to come up against Coastal Carolina. Now, I will say one of the players on Louisville, I don't remember his name. He's getting married on Saturday. So now it works out because they were going into this game against Coastal Carolina and they're like, I don't know. If we beat them, we move on. May not be getting married, or I fly out, I get married, I fly back. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Like, he can go on and have his day. But the bigger question is, are you marrying the right person? Because why in the world would you get married during baseball season? I know there's no guarantee that the Cardinals were going to make it to the College World Series, but you have to look at that possibility. So they needed to look at a date after June 23rd.
They needed to look at a date in like September or October or
Exactly.
November, because if that unless he knows he's not going on anytime during baseball season, see, if he went on to a pro career, then on June, whatever, every year when he's having to play, his wife's going to be mad at him because he's not celebrating there.
So that's one of my first things I thought about was, is this the right person? Anyway, that's not going to, they're okay. Bracket 2, UCLA, Murray State, and LSU and Arkansas. They had the two SEC teams there. UCLA edged out Murray State 6-4, and LSU beat Arkansas 4-1. And then LSU beat UCLA 9-5. Arkansas beat UCLA 7-3. That's the end of UCLA. And yeah, Murray State, they ran up against Arkansas. And this guy, I mean, holy cow, Gage Wood threw a no-hitter, first in Omaha since 1960, 9 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts, and as you mentioned, only the third time in College World Series history. And I'm rooting for the Racers every time that they get up to bat, that they can do something. They couldn't do anything against this kid. He was just on fire. Amazing performance. And as much as you're like, I want Murray State to go on, you kind of had to root for him because he was so good. And then when he wins and they win to move on, you're sad for Murray State. But the first thing that Gage Wood says is, hey, my hometown, my friend plays for the Racers. And he goes on, and they're both from Batesville, Arkansas. And he goes on to tell about how great this guy is. And so you're like, how can you not like Gage Wood? But yeah, crazy. But Murray State was the favorite team at the College World Series. Even after their loss, there was no Murray State gear left in the gift shops anywhere, in the pro shops. The Racers ended with a 44-17 record. That's the most wins in a season in program history. They're the first school from the Missouri Valley Conference to reach the College World Series since Missouri State in 2003. This is their first NCAA tournament win since 1979. The NCAA tournament, so just any tournament, and then their first NCAA regional championship. Amazing job, and hopefully some more money can get pumped into Murray State baseball just to fix the outfield walls in their stadium. Still are not going to charge to go watch baseball at their stadium because they feel like they would alienate their fan base that like to come in and sit where they want to sit. And they're just going to keep doing it. But I can't wait to see what they do next season.
Right.
And their coach is amazing. I mean, he's great.
A couple of guys I went to high school with who got scholarships to Murray State.
Yeah, there's I will say, I mean, we've got some there's a kid from Las Cruces that played for Centennial High in Las Cruces and plays for Murray State.
Huh.
And he actually pitched in that game and was able to keep Murray State competitive, at least on the scoreboard, but obviously not in the batter's box because Gage Wood was amazing.
True enough.
He was amazing. LSU and Arkansas, they meet up again to see who plays Coastal Carolina, which SEC powerhouse will play the Sun Belt Conference, Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know.
Let's see. Because that was a big thing. People were like, that's not how you pronounce it.
Of course not.
And I've never... Chanticleers, yes. Okay, well. But maybe they say it different.
Yeah, probably. Coastal Carolina, they probably have a Coastal Carolina accent.
Yes, so I'm sure it's very much different.
Probably so. All right, so we will know next week when we're back as to who is your champion.
And right now, it looks like, and we'll talk about this next week, but it looks like it may be the Razorbacks and Coastal Carolina in the championship game. So at this point, but it could always change. You never know. And if you're not watching College World Series, you got to watch it. I mean, I don't know. We got to go to Omaha.
Yeah, remember that this is happening in real time. So if you're watching, something on Netflix, it's going to be there. Mm-hmm. You can watch it after the College World Series.
Yeah. Most of the games, all the games I've been watching, because I don't have ESPN, but I do have ESPN Plus. You can watch on Hulu, and that's what I've been doing. And I have yet to be disappointed by watching one of the College World Series games.
All right, so no disappointment there, but you might have some disappointment with the All-Star team. It's interesting. I just saw the first list of the All-Star votes, and something that's interesting to me is number 3 in the American League outfield is Mike Trout.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is just name, right? It's just the name, and that is one thing that has always bothered me about the All-Star voting. They allow us fans to vote. However, you have a tendency, you want to vote for your team. All of them, up and down, if they're there, you vote for your team. But you also have to take into consideration who's on the IL. If they're on the IL, they're not going to the All-Star game. They'll be replaced. And you also have to look at their stats. And they're right there. So if their OPS is like 520, I'm not voting for them.
The other thing too, a lot of people will vote for their team. That's fine.
Yeah.
Vote for
Yeah.
all your team. But I did see something interesting where somebody said that the All-Star game they want to see is they're voting all the White Sox and all the Rockies.
I have heard that too.
And then I went and did one and did, you know, the players where I didn't know which one because I was looking to vote for Jose Altuve in the outfield,
Yeah.
but he's listed as a second baseman.
Yeah.
He played like 15 games at second base. He's played almost 40 and DH'd. 40 in the outfield and DH'd for about 20. So how does that work?
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, but Tiny is number 3 at second base in the American League, even though he's not played any or barely any. Anyway, so the at this point, we're just waiting to finish out this first round, and then it's the top 2 from each position, except for the outfield, which is the top 6.
Yeah, because it's 3 and 3 So yeah, the leading vote getter in each league during phase 1 will receive an automatic spot in their team starting lineup. So Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, they're going to be there. And then beyond those 2 players, the top 2 vote getters at every position and the top 6 outfielders, as you just mentioned, will advance to phase 2 of the voting, which begins on June 30th. And then if an outfielder is a league's leading vote getter, only the next 4 outfield finalists will move on to phase 2 to determine who starts at the 2 remaining spots.
So one thing we'll go over once we get closer to that spot where we're moving from one phase to the next. Mm-hmm. One thing I am happy to see, Riley Green, who's been having a great season for the Tigers.
Yes.
Not a name everybody knows, but he's number 2 in votes in the outfield. And then the one that you might be disappointed about, because I don't think he's in the top 6, is Andy Pages. Oh,
yeah.
He is number. Well, no, he's not. He's number 7.
He's number 7. That's what I was going to say. So that's why he needs more votes. And I'll tell you something funny. The other day I was reading something, and it was a reporter who has a book out, and he said he's going to be at this bookstore, and he put the website, and it said, I don't remember the bookstore, but it said, and it was Pages. The bookstore's name, was like Pages, but I read it as Pages. So now I can't even read Pages. It'll always be Pages. Yeah. So he right now, he was at number 7. So got to vote for Andy. I mean, he deserves it. He really does. He deserves it more than Juan Soto. Pete Crow Armstrong, he's number 1, he deserves to be there. I mean, has a great season. He's got like 19 home runs. Although I just heard that he said he's not interested in doing the home run derby. So he said it's not for him. So we'll see. Vote Andy Pages. Vote for him.
One last thing about the All-Star voting. When last week, the leading DH vote getter for the American League was Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
Now he's number 2. He had over 700,000 votes, but unfortunately for him, he now plays in the same league as Shohei, who has about 600,000 more than he has.
Yes.
It's doubtful that he's going to pass Shohei.
Well, no, I don't think he will. And Cal Raleigh of the Mariners, I feel like every week there's a different stat about him. He is the lead, which he should be. He's number 1 in the vote getting for catchers in the American League. He became the first player in MLB history to drive in 6+ runs, hit a grand slam, steal a base, and out-hit the entire opposing team, all in the same game. And this was since the RBI became an official stat in 1920. Because I feel like every time I look, there's another stat about Raleigh. Every single time, it's like, what is he not doing? He's having an amazing season.
All right, that'll put a wrap on this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. Parking the bullpen cart and locking that all up, putting the tarp on the field, and we'll start getting ready for next week, because this never ends throughout the baseball season. Remember, you can find us on our social media, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A on Twitter.
And at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A on Instagram and Facebook.
And our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Hit the Fanatics link to get any kind of gear that you want.
All-Star hats, All-Star jerseys. And the jerseys are only going to be worn by the players during like batting practice, that kind of stuff. They're going to be going back to wearing their uniforms of their teams, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Returning back to the way it used to be. All right, make sure you watch some live baseball. Check out the finals of the College World Series. It's going to be going on this weekend. Best of 3, Coastal Carolina, and it does look very much so like Arkansas. The Razorbacks and Coastal Carolina will be taking each other on. So do that. Live baseball. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to swing away.